G'day from downtown Montreal, and today I'm going to tell you what the drivers drove. Well, no, they didn't drive any cars. What they rode. Well, no, only two rode. What they wore on their feet to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix is a little bit of an anomaly because none of the drivers drive a car. They don't need to. Why? Well, they stay virtually on the track. There's a hotel at either end of the paddock. You've got the JW Marriott Absheron at one end and the Hilton at the other. The Hilton is actually inside the F1 precinct. So the drivers can simply head down in the lift and walk straight to the paddock without having to go through any security. A little bit different with the Marriott. They have to walk down, go through security, over the bridge and then into the paddock. But as such, they don't need cars. So there will be no cars in this review. However, a couple of them came on two wheels. And I'll get to those two a little later. But let me go through what they were wearing on their feet for this race. Starting off with Lewis Hamilton. He came in high-end sneakers. On one day he was wearing Dolce & Gabbana, a pair of Portofino light graffiti print sneakers. These had the logos on the soles as well, valued around $1,700 US, and all these prices will be in US dollars. Another day he wore a pair of off-white out of office low top sneakers, $710, and on another day these Louis Vuitton runaway sneakers, well, a version of this particular model, and these are worth around $1,600. Were these the most expensive shoes worn in the paddock? No, they weren't. Who was wearing them? You have to hang around to find out, but it's one of the younger drivers. Lewis's teammate, George Russell, was wearing these, a pair of club sneakers inspired by the silhouette of a football shoe. These are Pumas. These are exceptionally good value at just $63. The Red Bull drivers, with Sergio Perez wearing these colourful Puma Wild Rider sneakers in white and red, valued around $100, and Max Verstappen in a pair of white leather Pumas. You'll note that Puma comes up a lot in this particular video because they sponsor so many teams. The two Ferrari drivers, well, here's Charles Leclerc's sneakers, Basket Case Classic 22. This is an iconic style, been around for years, $73. Once again, pretty good value. And what's this written on the bottom? I can't even tell you. Maybe you know. Perhaps leave a comment below if you can shed any light on that. And his teammate Carlos Sainz in a pair of Ralph Sampson Pumas. In the US they retail for around $106. What about the McLaren drivers? Were they wearing some trendy shoes? Well, they're wearing team kit Puma shoes, the McLaren style, which I can't even find a price on. Maybe if you know, once again, leave a comment below. And where am I recording this video? I'm recording this, as you can see, in the foyer of this beautiful hotel in downtown Montreal. So you're going to hear a bit of background noise during this video, but that's what I'm hearing recording it. Getting back to the McLaren sneakers, do they have to wear those? It depends on the driver's contract though, because some drivers have to wear them for certain events and others don't. For instance, Alex Albon is seen here wearing some New Balance 327 Oak Leaf green shoes, retail for around $190. But New Balance does not sponsor Williams. Williams is sponsored by Umbro. And here's Nicholas Latifi wearing a pair of Impulsa running shoes, $139. And I've seen a lot of the team members from Williams wearing this exact same shoe. Oh, quick question for you. Are you going to the Hungarian Grand Prix? No? Would you like to go for free? Yeah? Well, here's good news. F1 Experiences is giving away 2 tickets to this race. Not just ordinary grandstand seats, these are packages. Here's what's included. 2 Silver 3 grandstand seats from the Friday to the Sunday, and that stand is on the final turn. You get an exclusive pit lane walk on the Thursday. You get a track tour on the Thursday, and I'll even take your photo with the F1 Championship trophies on the track after your tour. What is this package worth? $3,600 US. That's right, $3,600 worth of F1 Experiences packages for 2, and you can enter by simply going to my Instagram page, find this particular post or one similar. This one's gone up on the, what are we today? 15th of the month, June. There'll be another one on the 22nd and another one on the 29th. You can enter one or all by following the entry details on the post, and with a bit of luck, on the 30th of the month, you'll be announced as the winner, and you'll get a month or so to organise your own travel, your own accommodation. That's at your cost, but the tickets to the event will be provided free of charge by F1 Experiences. So do not waste a second, get on board right now and enter. Alpine, were their drivers riding? No. they weren't. They were walking in. And we have Fernando Alonso here wearing a pair of Adidas 4D FWD Pulse shoes worth $162. On another day too, he wore the Alpine Kappa shoes, which is a team sponsor. And his teammate Esteban Ocon was wearing these, and I couldn't find any details on them, but if you're an expert, by all means leave details about these shoes in the comments below. The AlphaTauri drivers have fine taste when it comes to sneakers, and I can tell you that one of them was wearing the most expensive pair of sneakers in the paddock over this whole weekend. It was Pierre Gasly wearing a pair of Virgil Abloh's Louis Vuitton by Nike Air Force Ones. Now this pair of shoes retails for around $2,100 US. However, the first 200 were initially auctioned on Sotheby's, and the most expensive pair went for, and wait for this, $353,000. I'll say that again, $353,000 for a pair of sneakers. And his teammate Yuki Tsunoda in something a little more cost effective but still stylish, these Air Jordan 1 Retro High G OG sneakers, found them on Farfetch for $558. Aston Martin drivers, one of them was riding a bicycle. Yes, it was Sebastian Vettel on his white Just Ride It bike, which is a Melbourne bike manufacturer. And have a look at the handlebars. I've mentioned this before, but they are wood. Seb came in riding this bike on 1 or 2 days on his own, carrying it over the bridge at turn 1 once, and then also coming in at the other entrance by going underneath the track. And of course the rainbow is rather dominant. That's what he was riding, and what did he have on his feet? A pair of Pharrell Williams Adidas sneakers, and I gave up looking for a price of those. It was almost impossible to find, but once again, if you're an expert and know, in the comments below, please. Oh, on another matter with Seb, I'm always amazed because he's very outspoken at the moment with causes, and of course he wore these 2 t-shirts over the weekend. But just out of the blue, I followed him back from a signing session, and he didn't know I was behind, so you can't say he's doing this for me. But he saw some rubbish on the ground as he went to walk up the stairs, and he bent over, picked it up and put it in a rubbish bin. This from one of the best drivers in the world, and he is an example to the rest of us. His teammate Lance Stroll was walking to the track. He stayed at the Hilton, and he was wearing some New Balance BB480 LWW. $228 these sneakers sell for. Alfa Romeo drivers, well, one, Zhou Guanyu, was wearing these Nike Nitro Alfa Romeo sneakers, but I couldn't find a price for those, but the socks are quite a statement, aren't they? Daniel Ricciardo used to wear trendy socks like that from Stance, but I notice these days he's coming in shorts. He has no socks on, and in long pants you can't see the socks. And teammate Valtteri Bottas wearing some simple white leather Pumas. The other driver to come in on 2 wheels was Mick Schumacher, riding a Lucky scooter. This is a company that produces these out of Washington in the US. And on one day, both he and Sebastian arrived into the paddock with their 2-wheelers. On his feet though, he's wearing these Under Armour shoes. They are a team sponsor, while Kevin Magnussen wasn't wearing the team sponsor shoe. Instead, he was wearing these Nike Dunk Low Pros worth around $300. There you have it, all the shoes the drivers are wearing, plus the 2-wheel transport for 2 of them. But since we're on the subject of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, let me run through a couple of things that I saw while I was photographing over the weekend. I've got to tell you, the security is very tight there, painful at times. At one stage, they actually blocked one of the drivers from coming into the paddock because he did not have his pass. In the end, he did get in, but one of his crew had to take back his pass and swipe it in. On the subject of security, the streets around the area of the track are blocked off, so you can't get closer than about probably 800 metres. However, I did notice this cacophony of black limos at one of the main entrances on race day. This was about 25 minutes before the start of the race. This is all the VIPs being dropped off at this one gate, and I imagine many of them only stayed for the start, because all of those cars were not there at the end of the race. I did see one driver being asked to leave one of the restaurants at one of those 2 hotels because they brought their own food, which a lot of them do because they're on very strict diets. That driver was certainly a little miffed when asked to leave, but common sense prevailed and he was allowed to return a short time later and enjoy his food at the table. Let's talk about the fan zone. I popped over there and watched a couple of the teams interact with the fans. Once again, Lewis Hamilton shines when he's in that environment. He made this gentleman's day by signing a couple of the pictures that he'd painted. This gentleman's name is Brian, and he asked Lewis to sign his arm and said he was going to get it tattooed thereafter. And he actually had Daniel Ricciardo tattooed on his other arm, apparently. He took great interest in this young woman's fingernails, which were painted. Like Charles Leclerc signing people's faces in Mexico last year, Lewis was asked to sign a fan's face here in Azerbaijan. And coming back from the fan zone, I noticed that the Mercedes logo had been blacked out on the cars that transport the drivers to and from. Turns out that there are teams that say we will not allow our drivers to drive in any car produced by a competitor. And that's the reason they have to black that out. One thing that grabbed my attention was these guys who were picking up rubbish in the paddock were wheeling, no, they weren't wheeling this bin, they were dragging it. It had no wheels. And it was the funniest thing to hear these guys for 4 days drag this bin up and down the paddock. What was management thinking? On a different note, it was great to see Pierre Gasly pumped about his 5th place finish. Daniel Ricciardo was also all smiles after finishing 8th. Lando not quite so happy about finishing 9th. And finally, let me show you the 4 outfits that Lewis Hamilton wore over the 4 days of the event. All eye-catching and, as usual, pretty much dominating the fashion stakes in the Azerbaijan paddock. We're nearly at the end now, so let me say thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button and become a member for a whole host of extras. You'll find all of my digital images at prostarpics.com. There are still a handful of signed Pierre Gasly prints available at kimillman.com, and a range of merchandise including this t-shirt, which, as you can see, features every one of the 2022 F1 tracks on it. You can get it at kimillman.com. And for my best images live from the track and all during the week, head to Instagram and search at Kim Illman. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. This is what gobbles up so much of my time.